snoring right now. I don't know if you can hear him or not. Hopefully not. He's still sick. Hey. All right. Christmas tree still up. It's mid-February. That's kind of the state of things. So I'm just realizing that there's like 3 shoes right there because I'm not gonna say anything. I don't know, only maybe put that in if it's funny. Okay, the trouble of memory. Memory matters a lot. It would be very bad if I woke up tomorrow and couldn't remember anything. And I think that that's something we can all agree on. Memory, the ability to remember, is an incredible thing. It might be best described as a tool that allows us to draw on, let's say, past life experiences so that we might best navigate the present and create a better future for ourselves. This is something I've talked a lot about in other videos, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about now. But memory has its problems, at least what appear to be problems. And that isn't my idea. It's an old idea, an idea that was kind of the focus of a great French writer, Marcel Proust, who's a favorite of mine and one of the writers that I've talked a lot about on this channel. I have his books right there. Oh, right there. There. Proust wrote of memory, quote, "Remembrance of things past is not necessarily remembrance of things as they were." Okay, so how does this pertain to the problem with memory? I think it causes us to pause, and let's try to unpack it a little bit. Most of the time, I think we live as though our memory is something that's objective and constant and unchanging. And honestly, I'm not sure there's any way to get outside of this idea. I think our memory is the closest thing we have to an objective point of reference, but as it turns out, our memory isn't as concrete as we might like to think. But at the same time, there's this dilemma, which is we kind of only have one reference point, being our memory. So what are we supposed to do about it? Proust also wrote, he loved writing about memory. That's like the whole thing. He wrote like 4,200 pages about memory. But he also wrote, quote, "The memory of a particular image is but regret for a particular moment." So I'll say the trouble with memory, of memory, is its fluidity. It changes the way the weather changes, the way the seasons change. And my goal for this video is to communicate my understanding of the problem of memory so that you might be able to learn from it enough to navigate the present in a way that's slightly more self-benefiting than it otherwise might be. Like I say in almost all of my videos, I'm currently a second-year graduate student at Johns Hopkins University, where I teach one reading and writing intensive undergraduate course per semester. When the subject of memory comes up in class, this is more or less the speech that I give my students. And I give them this speech because as their instructor, I want to help them actualize their full potential and achieve their goals however I can. And I want to help you the same way I want to help them. And all I ask in return is that you click that little like button and let me know what you think in the comment section. Okay, now self-promotion over. Let's get into it. The problem of memory. Why do I think it's worth considering? I think the problem is worth considering because it opens a very important door. To some extent, it's a symbolic door. To some extent, it's a real door. But identifying the problem of memory, meaning its inherent unreliability, which again exists as a consequence of its fluidity, isn't the easiest thing in the world. We're working with an abstract idea, to say the very least. Me trying to prove that something you remember isn't exactly as you remember it isn't the easiest thing in the world to do. So I'll tell you what I tell my students when this conversation comes up in class. Think about a video game you played as a kid, one that you haven't played or looked at in years and years and years. Or if you didn't play video games as a kid, consider a favorite TV show or movie, something you spent hours upon hours upon hours watching and rewatching. Some visual form of entertainment is really what I'm suggesting. All right, now once you've done that, think about all of the time you gave to that video game or show or movie. Remember the scenes or the levels that you enjoyed most. Okay, how many total hours do you think you spent with it? My guess is probably a lot if you're anything like me, because I know I put a lot of time into certain video games and shows. But okay, what was the video game or movie or show like? Can you picture it in your head? What do you see when you picture it in your head? When you can spare the time, try recalling the image as best you can. Visualize it. I know that sounds silly, but you just gotta trust me on this. Trust me that I am not trying to play you. There's a reason I'm asking you to do this. If it's a video game that you gave your time to, consider what it was like sitting in front of your TV or your computer. What did you see on the screen? What are you picturing right now? What's the image that comes to mind? These are the same questions that could be asked about shows or movies. But all right, this is what I tell my students at Hopkins. Once you've done the visualizing, open YouTube, search for clips or whatever it was you thought of, and see what you find. Because odds are what you'll find is that what you see is not what you remember. And that'll have to do with any number of factors, mainly the fact that the technology behind your childhood favorites has been outdated, but it's also due in large part to the fact that our memory is constantly changing. But okay, you probably don't think this is necessarily paradigm shifting. Or maybe you do. That would be cool if you did, because that would probably be great for the channel. So I will ask the question, why do I ask my students to do this visualizing and then to go on YouTube and search it up? I ask them to do it because it's perhaps one of the easiest ways to objectively visualize the unreliability of our memory. It's easy, it's free, and it's something that almost everyone can do from the comfort of their own home. Beyond that though, it's also interesting. Realizing that video game you played as a kid actually looks much worse than you remember it isn't something that's going to paralyze you. It's not like you're going to look back on your childhood and realize something that's horribly wrong and traumatizing. It's simple, it's small, it's easy. But we are going to steer clear of the potential dark and existentially grim underbelly of the beast that is the deceptive nature of our memory, at least for right now. The point I am trying to make is that this experiment with some form of visual entertainment that you cared about as a child is a low cost and low stakes exercise that can be applied to virtually any other facet of our lives. And that's important because although we might not be able to fully trust our memory, I'm of the opinion that we put ourselves in a better position to actualize our full potential and achieve our goals by making an effort to consciously understand the potential weaknesses of our memory. By identifying a potential problem, no matter the context, I think it becomes much easier to avoid the potential snare that such a problem might entail. And that's what I want for my students. I want to give them information that will follow them and help them when they leave my class. And I'm of the opinion that if we can learn to understand that our memory isn't something concrete, but is rather something that's fluid and ever-changing, as we move through life, we can access the sort of perspective and self-awareness that making good decisions, which is to say self-benefiting decisions, requires. But for now, that's everything that I've got. If you liked what you saw, I hope you'll hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let me know what you think in the comments section down below. And now I want to thank you, my wonderful viewer, for giving some of your time to this channel. My friends and I really appreciate it, and we hope that you let us know what you think in the comment section down below. And also, we hope that you'll come back next time. Okay, so thanks again, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.